Good morning, Mike and Arlen, our Philippine journey. Thanks for joining us. We really appreciate you spending time taking a look at our content. Hey, let's talk about how safe is the food delivery system in the Philippines. You know what? It's not, and you can't argue it, but I'm sure many will. Let's talk about it.
Why'd you have to go? I guess this world's too slow for you. I think there's beauty in the gray, the cold, but you just want the gold. And there's no way I can beat it, cause I got no chance when it comes to her. She got the glitter and the fame, and I just wasn't enough.
You know, there are going to be a lot of people that are going to argue about this. There are going to be a lot of people that will say, no, that's not the way it is. You know, I only get this here and this there and blah, blah, blah. Sure, there are going to be exceptions. There are going to be people who raise their own meat. There are going to be people who raise their own vegetables. But for the vast majority of us, we buy them. So how safe is what we buy? Well, it's not nearly as safe as you would like to think. And I'm going to tell you why, and I'm going to show you exactly what I mean. Okay? First off, yeah, there are rules and regulations, and they're enforced about as well as the traffic laws. So if you've ever been to the Philippines and you've ever seen traffic, that's about how well those things are actually enforced. They just don't have the manpower to do it. Secondly, what can you get? Well, you know something? You can get just about any disease you want. Now, let's think for just a minute, all right? Let's talk about like E. coli. E. coli, for instance, you know, if you're a healthy individual, odds are the most you're going to end up with is, you know, some diarrhea, upset stomach, cramps, fatigue, and you'll be over it in 48 hours. Nobody goes to the doctor for that here. You know, they just take some Imodium or some other medications, and they go on unless it becomes more severe. That's why these cases don't really get reported nearly as much as in other countries. Now, I'm not saying that this problem doesn't exist in America, in the US, in Australia, Great Britain, but let's take a look at a few different things. First off, the delivery system just simply doesn't work. But let's take a step back from that, okay? The common housefly, this little guy right here, all right? Now, I got to tell you something. This is not stock video footage that I got off the internet. Arlen actually was hanging some clothes, saw these two flies. I heard her laughing. I was inside and I could hear her laughing outside. All right. I mean, they're so cute and romantic and everything that goes along with it. How can that be bad? Well, if you've been to the Philippines, particularly actually in the cities, you're going to find that flies are very common. Very, very common. In fact, if you go to, say, well, one of the busiest intersections right there before you get into Walking Street, those two restaurants right there at that intersection, their trash only gets hauled once a week. It sits there and ferments, and the flies can be atrocious, absolutely atrocious. Flies carry 65 identified pathogens and diseases. In addition to that, they also carry whatever it is they happen to pick up as they walk around and fly and land from place to place. Okay? And that includes ringworm. They pick up the larvae, the eggs, and they leave them wherever they go. You can get ringworm is a much more prevalent issue here than people would like to think. When you start coughing and all of a sudden you cough up a worm, you've got ringworm. When one crawls out of your nose, you've got ringworm. Not uncommon. Gross, but not uncommon. Actually, it's easily fixable, but still. All right. Contamination from just watering the plants. Now, we have a rule at my house, our house, okay? Our house, Arlen, please don't be throwing the pillow at me, all right? I only eat meats that come from refrigerated institutions, S&R, Hypermart, Robinsons, Health, Healthy Option, First Options, Healthy Options, whatever, okay? Filipinos are attuned to this. They've grown up with this. So a mild case of some simple salmonella or E. coli, that's life for them. They don't even think twice about it. Well, you should, because a mild case can turn into a rough case. Real quick, street food. I'm going to tell you right now, you are taking your life into your own hands when you start eating street food. Now, obviously, you could do what we do. We do eat street food. We don't eat it where we buy it. We buy it, we bring it home, and we recook it. We make sure it brings up to temperature enough to kill the pathogens. All right? Not the pathogen, it's been cooked already, but it's been sitting out there unrefrigerated, and it is, fly bait. It really and truly is. So we don't eat it where we buy it. Well, Arlen does. No Filipino food bothers her. But for me, it's got to come home. It's got to be recooked. Now, sure, you know what? It's obvious that even in places like S&R and Robinsons and Hypermart and whatever, okay, there's going to be cross-contamination. But that's why you cook your food, and that's why you limit your odds. You got to keep the odds down. You really and truly do. Otherwise, this cute little couple, they may come to visit you, all right, in ways that you don't want, all right? They are nasty, nasty little critters. Trust me. Now, those things being said, I want to also tell you about eggs. Eggs come, refrigerated and unrefrigerated. If you buy eggs that are unrefrigerated, which we do almost always, okay? If you buy unrefrigerated eggs, do not wash them. Or if you're going to leave them unrefrigerated. When a chicken lays an egg, there's a film on that shell that prevents pathogens and parasites from crossing the barrier of the shell and infecting the inside of the egg. If you're going to wash them, if you can't stand the fact that they look ugly and dirty and you're going to wash them, first wash them. Don't put them next to something that could already be contaminated, and then put them immediately into the refrigerator. That's the bottom line when it comes to eggs. All right? Nothing wrong with buying unrefrigerated eggs. It happens in Asia. It's been around for hundreds and hundreds of, eggs. Unrefrigerated eggs were around long before All right. Hundreds of years ago. They've been around since there were chickens. So, but the food delivery, now when it comes to vegetables, you've got to really be a little cautious. You've got to buy your vegetables and then you've got to wash the living crap out of them. A lot of vegetables sit in fields that are watered by contaminated water or water that's not inspected for contaminants. Wash that. Wash that stuff good and then learn about cross-contamination. These are the things you've got to look out for. You really and truly do. You can't take for granted that the system is working. You will get sick. Filipinos don't get sick from this stuff nearly as bad or as often as we do. And ringworm, that's a big deal. All right, that's why I refuse to eat meat that's bought at the market. Not unless it's refrigerated. I mean, how fresh can it be if it doesn't have blood? And you're not going to find that. You just really and truly don't. You don't know when that meat was butchered and put away and whether it was transported while refrigerated. And if you want to argue about this, then come here and I will personally take you and we will go and find a couple of refrigerated trucks that are delivering and see just how well the refrigeration in those trucks really is. It ain't going to be like that Walmart semi that's transporting beef all over the country. It's not going to happen. It costs money to keep those things running. It costs money to run the refrigeration units, and it takes money to maintain those things. And it doesn't happen. Now, all of that being said, sure, plenty of people know the right place. They know that pig was butchered that morning. In fact, in Agusan del Norte and in Agusan del Norte, North and South, whichever one, in Mindanao, all pork has to go to a government-approved butcher center, and it is inspected when it's butchered. Even though, we used to have a pig in the backyard in the province, and we have a home in the province, we'd buy a pig, they'd raise the pig, then they'd butcher the pig, then they'd cook the pig. Can't do that anymore. You have to take that pig to what we call in the U.S. an abattoir, all right? It is a processing facility. And they have to put a tag on there when it's butchered saying it was inspected, all right? That's how bad it's gotten. So please, think about it when you start eating street food or when you start buying open air market foods, okay? I'm not even going to get into fish because I don't eat freshwater fish. I don't eat catfish. I don't eat tilapia. I don't eat any freshwater fish at all. But you notice something? When you watch Filipinos eating fish, that shit's fried, all right? Or it's grilled, burnt almost. All right? You're not going to find steamed fish. All right? You'll see it in a soup. You'll see it well cooked because they know these are dirty fish. They've got to be clean and they've got to be cooked well. Just like every other country, it's no different. My point with all of this is simple. Watch what you eat. Be careful where you buy it. Buy it where people buy often and where the turnover is fast. Where you see things are refrigerated, on ice, or just are absolutely fresh. And I can't really explain it any other way, can I? Hey, we hope it helps, and we hope you have a great day. Thanks for watching.